Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is now fighting a subpoena to have to go and testify before a Georgia Senate committee that is investigating her office. That committee meets this morning at 10 o'clock.
It was formed after backlash over Willis's decision to hire her former romantic partner as a special prosecutor on that case against former President Donald Trump. Sarah Hammond is at the state capitol ahead of that hearing.
The Fulton County District Attorney's name appears on the agenda for this 10 o'clock meeting this morning, but Fani Willis is expected to defy that subpoena as she continues to fight it in court. Now, this Senate committee was formed earlier this year after backlash over Fani Willis's decision to hire attorney Nathan Wade as a special prosecutor of the election interference case charging former President Donald Trump and others with crimes tied to the 2020 election. Wade was then revealed as a former romantic partner of Willis's, and she is now fighting the subpoena to testify issued by the committee. And to be clear, the Senate panel can subpoena witnesses and recommend changes to state law, but cannot bring charges or make disciplinary moves. And the hearing this morning comes just after Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee dropped 3 charges related to the historic indictment of the former president. Trump now faces 8 remaining counts in the case out of the original 13.
You never want to be a prosecutor who filed a bunch of charges and then has some of those charges thrown out and then also is almost tossed off the case based on a hearing related to conflicts of interest. Now, whether or not this indicates that if this case goes forward, if the rest of the case goes forward, that Fani Willis can or can't win, that's a different question.
Willis's office declined to comment on Thursday's ruling. Trump's legal team, however, calls this a victory for them. At the state capitol, Sarah.
Yeah, another day, another Trump witch hunt case falling apart right before our very eyes. And boy, is it good to see. This is the thing. As we get past this election, if Trump wins, which I fully expect him to, you're going to see a lot of this stuff completely disappear. That witch hunt, these folks are going to run for the hills. Guarantee it. If he loses, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out of the woodworks after this man. And so I think Trump knows what's at stake. And listen, if I'm Trump, bro, I'm almost empty in my bank account, to ensure that I win, right? In terms of ads, right? I'm spending a lot of my own money for some of these ads, right? I'm just dumping it. I'm telling you, because they are going to go after this man. They've already tried, and if he loses, it's going to be even worse. That is just a given. That's just putting 2 + 2 together. They are going to throw him under the jail, and it's going to be so devastating and disgusting to watch these folks and what they try to do to this man if he loses. Now, I don't expect that to happen, but man, yeah. Another case though falling completely apart. Obviously, the case is still there. It's just two of the counts that have been thrown out, but it's some great news. It's some absolutely fantastic news to see.
Well, now to the latest on the election interference case against Mr. Trump. Today, a judge dropped 2 more charges against the former president, and in less than 12 hours, Georgia state lawmakers are set to hold a hearing looking to question Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis about the case. But she likely won't show up. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley with our 11 Alive political team joining us live from the state capitol, where that hearing is set to start at 10 in the morning. And Joe, this comes amid efforts to take Willis off the case completely.
That's right. And this Georgia State Senate subcommittee hearing wants to hear from Fulton DA Fani Willis, first on the election interference case here in Georgia, along with her relationship with one-time special prosecutor Nathan Wade. Willis is trying to block this committee's hearing subpoena, but nearly half a dozen judges have recused themselves already, citing conflicts of interest or potential conflicts of interest. Meantime, this is only bogging down Georgia's election interference case. Judge Scott McAfee dropped 2 more criminal charges against former President Donald Trump. Count 15, which accuses him of conspiring to file a fake certificate of votes, and Count 27, which deals with filing false statements about voters. The judge said state prosecutors didn't have the authority to bring charges dealing with federal court matters. Judge McAfee previously dropped 3 other charges against Mr. Trump, all tied to allegedly petitioning Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and the late State House Speaker David Ralston to alter or decertify the 2020 election. Mr. Trump's counsel, Steve Sadow, responded to the dropped charges, saying, quote, President Trump and his legal team in Georgia have prevailed once again. The trial court has decided these counts must be quashed, dismissed.
Every time that a defendant gets a charge dismissed against them, it's definitely a win for the defense.
I spoke with John Acevedo, the associate dean at Emory Law School. He says time and taxpayer money are stalling the election interference case.
It was always going to be a hard case to prosecute, and it's just getting even harder. Really now, Fani Willis is going to have to decide, is it worth the effort that it's going to take to continue with these charges?
A state Senate subcommittee called the hearing requesting Willis to testify to her relationship with the one-time special prosecutor over the Trump case. But it's likely Willis will not attend. Legally,
No effect whatsoever. In the court of public opinion, it may do her some damage.
As for Mr. Trump, his Georgia case remains stalled, as does the D.C. January 6 case, tied up over arguments of presidential immunity. A judge dismissed the Florida classified documents case altogether, and a New York jury convicted the former president of falsifying business documents, with sentencing coming after the November election. And tonight we have reached out to the Fulton County DA's office for comment on the potential no-show for Fani Willis here at this state Senate subcommittee hearing. In fact, she's been advertised at a Congressional Black Caucus event in Washington, D.C. We also reached out to the DA's office for comment on news of these charges for former President Trump being dropped. We have not heard back. We're live in Atlanta.
I love how, the guy had mentioned that, now it's going to come down to whether or not Fani feels like it's even worth it. And to me, I don't think she feels like it is worth it at this point. Because, the obvious thing is that they wanted to arrest him and throw him in jail. And if not do that, at least throw enough dirt on him before the election. So much dirt that he would lose the election. And they see that that isn't going to be the case. All of these cases aren't going to be wrapped up until after the election. Well, I guess technically one is, but he won't be sentenced for that case until after the election, which that one's completely bogus as well. And I think that judge was smart. Which was that Merchan in that case? Or Merchan, I don't even know how you pronounce it. Anyway, I think he was smart in that, because if he would have done it before the election, you could just hand Trump the presidency if that were the case. But now, and that sentencing would actually be in 5 days. If that judge held, because it was supposed to be September 18th, I believe that date was. So he would actually be sentenced here soon if the judge didn't push it back further. But even if he did, and he threw Trump in prison, that just would have given Trump the presidency. And that's why I think he actually pushed it back. Now, of course, he gave other reasons as to why that was the case, but I don't personally believe that. Not by a long shot. Now, when we go back to Fani, I don't think she really cares about this a whole lot anymore. I really don't. Because her mission and her goal, in my humble opinion, was once again to interfere with Trump winning. Put him in prison or interfere with him winning. Throw so much dirt on him that he gets buried under it right before the election and he loses the election because of it. And I say that she doesn't care anymore because of a situation like this. And I made a whole video on this, but look at this.
Couple hours, probably. Mom, Dad, who with the Okay.
Nice to meet you.
So, Corporal Clark.
Nice to meet you. What?
So, apparently,
Nice to meet you.
apparently her license is suspended
Nice to meet you. Okay.
for something. Doesn't tell us what for or why or where. Or that's something she's going to have to call DMV and find out. Okay.
You guys recognize that face? You recognize this guy right here? That is Sir Nathan Wade. You know, the same guy that she said that the relationship was over with under oath. That's who she pulled up with. That's part of the reason why I say I don't think she really cares anymore. I don't think she really cares, because putting herself in a situation like this, I mean, you can see that this is Nathan Wade as clear as day on the body cam. It's clear as day. And of course, that was Fannie. I think you pronounce it Fannie. That's her. As you can see, that's who she pulls up with. I don't think she cares, because her mission has failed. The election is here, almost, not quite. Still got a little ways to go, but it's basically here, and that case isn't going to be wrapped up before then. And nor are the American people buying the BS that she's been trying to feed us. So I don't think she cares. That's just my personal opinion. Y'all can let me know what y'all thinking in the comment section. But yeah, some more great news. Part of this case has fallen apart, and I expect it to continue to fall apart right before our eyes, along with the rest of these cases. But that's just my personal opinion. What's yours? Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.